Y'all put that on my OnlyFans. We grew up more on deer leases, probably more than anything. But as far as us having a ranch, we did a lot of deer lease stuff and then would help out as kids on other family ranches. And we got this ranch probably when I was older. As far as ranching, it can be all pretty fun. The cow stuff can get nasty at times. There's poop everywhere, and if you can't get your hands dirty, then ranching's definitely not for you. Our quality and durability is two of the biggest things for GameGuard. We stand by those two things 100%, and I think that's why we've got the ranching community behind us. You know, they don't stain easy. It's perfect for the outdoors. Just being outside is probably a top thing for me, and just being outdoors is where I love to be, whether it's working cattle or hunting or fishing or hanging out with friends, dove hunting.
These birds are gonna die.
Oh, that's me! That's me!
Oh my God, no way!
I think we may have all shot that bird.
My dad was the leader of the group and that stuff and showed us the way. You know, we got into all this because of him. Being one of the oldest and one of the first, you know, I think every kid can relate. You know, there's always the baby in the family, and that wasn't me. You know, I was the test subject, and you know, my dad left me in deer blinds by myself at 10 years old, and you know, I had it hard, you know, which I appreciate every single day. As a kid, you know, your parents always telling you know, hey, you're gonna thank me later, and that just seems like such a cliche. Everyone tells you that as a kid, especially your parents, and I truly do thank my parents today that they made it hard on us, and it makes it easy on us now. Our work ethic is unstoppable, and there's not a lot of things that cross me that I quit on. You know, discipline is huge, and that's one thing that my dad instilled in us is, you know, we were disciplined. If yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, and there wasn't any other way. That was it. And when it came to ranching, deer lease work, anything that he needed help with, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. It was going to be done, and it was going to be done the way that he wanted it. And I'm thankful that he did that, because he instilled that in me, and now I'm instilling that in my children. And I feel like, you know, we need that in today's world. It's definitely a family value of ours is hard work, no doubt. Cows, you never know what they're gonna do, man. The older ones seem smarter, and the younger ones definitely wild, silly, have a personality. You never know the direction, but they're unpredictable. But they're cool too. You can tell after, you know, a certain amount of time, each one has some character. They're always hungry, always want to eat something. Always trying to get out of a gate or a fence or explore a new field. Growing up in a house with 5 kids was fun, tough. You know, taking care of my little brothers was always an exciting part for me. I was always excited to do it. I always wanted to raise them to, you know, try to be like me or help them walk, ride their bikes. Which I did. My goal was always to try to be like a third parent almost. My sister as well, you know, she was always there. But I guess just being one of 4 boys and being the oldest boy, I felt like things were kind of on my shoulders to set the example and just be that older guiding light for them. But it was always fun. I never looked at it as a hassle, or it always had exciting moments to me.
Did you ever do anything where you got somebody else in trouble?
Yeah, I definitely got myself out of trouble all the time, especially when they were infants. I mean, they couldn't talk, or it was hard to understand, so I could do something bad and easily put it off on them, which happened a few times, definitely. And then as they got older, there was definitely some calls, maybe from police, to where things happened, and I had to make some phone calls, but I was the first call because they didn't want to call dad or mom. They wanted to call an older sibling, and that happened to be me. So we worked through those things as well.
So you were reliable?
Yeah, I would say I was pretty reliable. My dad's stories are just as bad as ours, so we could sit here all day. And
it's my mother that would get us in trouble. My dad would be like,
yeah.
come on, man.
He'd have to be like, dang it, guys, why'd you do that? Get the hell out of here.
Give me like a secret knuckle bump.
Yeah. I'm gonna come talk to your room later. How did you do that? A painful lesson probably to me was going out and doing it on my own. GameGuard hasn't been my entire career or my entire life. It's, my dad kicked me out at some point and said, hey, you need to go figure it out on your own. And that's always tough as a young man, and having to figure it out by yourself, pay your own bills and feed yourself, and you start to build a family and have a girlfriend and a wife, and asking $20 from my dad back then was like asking for his whole wallet. And he'd make you feel that and appreciate every dollar that was spent. Money didn't grow on trees. That was a saying that was always thrown around. And growing up, we didn't, we always had everything that we needed, but it never went beyond that. We had to, as soon as we were kicked out of the house, it was, you're on your own, and that was tough. That was tough, but a lesson well learned for sure. I just remember growing up, I wanted to be just like my dad. I didn't graduate high school wanting to go into sports or do anything. I didn't even really want to go to school. I wanted to work for GameGuard. I wanted to make sure that this thing was going to be carried on with me and my brothers, and I wanted to be obviously the first piece of that until they grew up and to where we are now. But the legacy is going to be is my dad's made it tough for us to carry it on. What they've done, the company that they've created, the audience that they've brought in, the things that they've done overseas with Grace House in India. It's going to be tough to match, but at the same time, I'm so grateful to be a part of it and to say that I'm part of this family. And I want to do everything I can, and I'm sure the family feels the same way, that we want to carry this thing on and continue to do the great work that they've done, not only in GameGuard, but giving back. And they raised us in the church, and the things that we have going on in India is almost a bigger part. That's Stacey's legacy 100%. She worked so hard to build that, and my dad was kind of the GameGuard legacy, and she was just as much as a part of that too. But it's going to be hard to match it for sure. They've left a big one behind, and we're going to do everything we can to carry that on. It was tough. Our relationship was tough. we didn't always see eye to eye on a lot of things. But something I told her about a week before she passed is my wife is very similar. And I chose my wife. They always say you choose your wife based off your mother. And I didn't, off my real mom. I based my wife off my stepmom. And because I always needed it tough. I always needed to hear the truth. And I needed to hear the hard things, and she was that person. She gave it to you straight every time. And she shaped me to be like that in a lot of ways, and I think that's why we went head to head on a lot of stuff, is because I was similar in a lot of ways to the way she was. And I can be harsh and very honest and brutal. And I got that all from her at the end of the day, and I didn't realize that until very later on in life. And it shaped me to be the person I am, looking back. I like the facts. Give me the facts and give it to me straight, and I don't want to hear all the fluff. And that was her 100%. And that's how she ran this business, and that's why GameGuard's successful today, is because we don't have all the fluff. We sifted through that, and we got straight to the point. And the people that work for GameGuard today, including me, we get right to the point. And we try to do it right the first time. Going back to quality and of this product, we dialed it in, and a lot of that comes from her. And I really appreciate that, and I value that from her.